Hi everyone, we are back again on Instagram Live, and we are so excited here today to be with Greg Kolowig. We used to actually do a lot of fun Snapchat videos back when I was when I could actually do things. But we're really excited to be here today, and I'm really excited because Greg is back into the blogging world.
And I write again.
Writing articles, and as he just said and referred to himself as, he is currently crushing it. Okay, so tell us, what was your latest post about? I really like the one where you were talking about should kids be publishing content online.
Right.
So
I was in New York doing a workshop, and middle school teachers with iPads, and they were asking me like, hey, can we publish our broadcast, our newscast every day from our classroom? And we have money for this. And I thought, no money involved. Like, let's just do it for free. So I went home and wrote the post, using various free tools from any device you can essentially publish, or you can broadcast from your classroom. Like, technically, is it possible for free? 100%. Then the question begs, like, should we be promoting kids publishing, like teaching them how to do it? And then, so it was awesome to bump into Sabba in San Francisco, because we got into the idea of like, but they're already doing this. They're already publishing, they're not publishing, they're already broadcasting. And I'm thinking like, yeah, they are. And that turned into a conversation about teaching kids how to monetize. And like, I know how to monetize on YouTube, and there's a million platforms where I don't know how to do it. Like, I wouldn't be qualified to do this. So it, like, that one idea of can we broadcast a newscast every morning just to our school turned into a bigger idea of like, should every student leave whatever level of education with the ability to broadcast live and like do something with the content, monetize it or archive it or get it to the right people or make it part of their story that they're telling. So.
And I love that somebody like you is really bringing together that idea, because I think EdTech Teacher were really the ones that really kind of pioneered that whole conversation of, are kids creating or are kids just consuming in the classroom and with the content that they have. And so I remember how I always used to say, are we creating kids who look for jobs or those who are going to create their own? I think being able to know that you have these platforms, that you have these opportunities, lets you start at least thinking and considering, what is it that I could share? What talent do I have? What skill do I have? Which I think brings us back to why creativity in the classroom.
Right.
Because the way you discover what you're really great at is by having it's exposure and opportunity to different things.
Right. It's so funny too. Like, I had another post. I'm like this hot streak. It's going to stay hot of writing. I have a couple more to push out. But I had a post, and it was let's revisit Henry Jenkins and the idea of participatory culture. And this was 2005 or 2006, and he's talking about kids publishing online, and two of like the tools available back then were pale in comparison to what you can do now, but kids were still doing this. So like, finding their own communities, publishing what they're passionate about to their own little micro communities. And then Sabba was like, well, how many kids in a typical high school are monetizing or know how or think it's not beyond like their capacity? And like, I think about the school that I used to teach in, and I stopped there in 2012. I think maybe I can count on one hand, and this is not knocking the school or the students, but like, it's not a thing. You see kids that are doing that, it's like, oh, someone else knows how to do that, or monetizing online is for someone else. But why can't you create a position for yourself? I wish I could remember the text, but the idea was like, get 10,000 people that believe in what you're saying, that are willing to pay you $10 a year, and like, you've made your living, a really solid living. Like, is that concept even being presented? Like, you don't have to work for someone. You can tell your story, share what you're exceptionally interested in, and like, maybe you can survive off of it.
And I think not even maybe, I think you can. And I think we talked about this as well, that, I think so many adults feel this way, so kids obviously must feel this way too, because they must see even more than what we do. Is you look at things and you look at people and you think like, oh my God, well, that's what everybody else is doing. Who's going to listen to me? Or what value does my voice have?
Right. It's like, when I get to meet up with Sabba, we get to talk about lots of awesome ideas, like maybe even like non-educational world ideas. And there's people that we tend to bring up often. And one of these people promotes the concept of like, there's room for everyone. So even though there are experts in this field, or I play a lot of like, I started playing games with my friends online. I started with Fortnite and it wasn't for me. We switched over to PUBG and we like the gameplay. So this conversation can go anywhere. But the idea is that like, there are hundreds of people streaming their gameplay on Twitch, and then they push that over to YouTube. And there is room for everyone to make money there. Like, what if I'm an expert at the game, or I'm funny when I play, or I make certain types of videos, or so there. It's I don't know if there's ever capacity for people to tell their story. So you can't say, well, there's 10 people that do it really well, so I really can't go into that space. Or like there's 100 people that are writing really well about that, so I can't do it. So maybe it's getting students to understand the idea that there is room for everyone. You have to be good at what you do. You have to be frequent with what you do, but there's room for everyone.
I love that. And then we also talked a little bit about how, and I think we do this with a lot of ideas, you know, we talk about the future and we talk about opportunities, and we always kind of look at everything from the student perspective, which obviously we should be doing, you know, but I think there is so much opportunity for teachers and for adults to really maybe reignite something that they were really passionate about, to think about like, how do I grow in my space, you know, especially when, you know, you think about like some of the controversies that we hear about from like, you know, educators, or just some of the things that we see, or, you know, just sometimes even the lack of opportunities that a lot of people feel like they don't have access to. It's a lot of times they don't have the skills to be able to leverage how to take advantage of, you know, the opportunities that do exist, because I think there are a lot of opportunities in the world. So I think there's a big thing here for adults too.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, and like believing in the idea that there's no obstacle to like explore what you want, and there's no obstacle to share what you want. I tweeted recently, like, it still amazes me that I can record a podcast, write a blog post, make a graphic, share it across multiple platforms from my phone anywhere I want. Like, that's still startling to me, but I don't even know if people really grasp like the power of that. Like, the device becomes like low-hanging fruit. Like, I can be productive, or I can do things that I've always done with it, but like, why isn't that thing viewed as like, this removes all barriers, it removes all limitations, you can connect, you can create, you can respond, you can write, you can do anything you want from whatever thing you're holding in your hand now.
Love it. I feel like every week someone's come, well, the last 2 weeks, Michael Cohen was here last week, and now you're here this week, so who's going to come visit me next week to do an Instagram Live? I'm just kidding. Okay, so where can people follow you, read your writing, and all that cool stuff?
So, I don't. You might have to put it in the comments, like spell it out. It's at. Good luck on it with this one. It's at Greg Kulowick. This will be a good test. Kulowi.
I was going to do it. I was doing it, and I would have done it right.
So at Greg Kulowick is on Twitter. I've just started blogging again on Medium. Just / G Kulowick on Medium, but I'll cross post everything to Twitter as well. The Instagram stuff is the same thing, same name. That's like a mixture of like kids and writing. I might migrate over to like a writing only one. But no, this was awesome conversation. We'll have to follow up and write about this more later.
But I actually like the idea that you post and share about your kids, because I remember some of our best conversations, controversial conversations, came from your experience with your kids in terms of technology. What would you want them to have access to?
Oh, I need
and all that kind of stuff.
I need to do a big time shout out right now.
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm not affiliated with them. They don't pay me. I'm not endorsing them. I believe in the product. So I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I limit their access to technology severely because I feel like I'm not ready to open that door yet. My little guy goes to a Montessori school. I have no prior connection to Montessori schools. My wife came across an application or a group called Montessorium. They started making iPad apps, and they have this bundle of Montessorium iPad apps. And I've reached out to them. I want to connect with them. I've never been more blown away by an app designed for that like pre-K, and my daughter's in kindergarten and she likes them as well, that like pre-K to K range. The values in there, the design of the application is like startling to me. My daughter said it makes me feel calm when I do it. She's learning how to spell, and she goes, I feel calm. My little guy wants to grab it and teach me about world geography. There's no stars, there's no badges, there's no you got it wrong, there's no you got it right. You just get to explore and learn. There's one, it's phenomenal. It's learning like this, like the color wheel and like the great color gradient. And these colors are all jumbled up, and there's no instruction, and you have to get them in the right order, but it doesn't tell you to get them in the right order. When you tap on the color, they make a unique sound, so you can get this visual cue that like you're making progress, or it can become a musical instrument.
Wow.
It's remarkable.
What is it called?
It's called Montessorium. Montessorium.
Okay.
So like if you have like little guys in your family, or you have access, and they're paid apps, but I think they should be paid apps. They're valuable. So I have a post in the work about Montessorium. So this is a totally different side of this discussion. But if Sabba was going to say, hey, it's great that you post pictures about your kids, I have to talk about this tool.
No, because I remember like a lot of our really interesting discussions came from, because I think, you know, when you experience, I think it's one thing to talk about what we think kids should have, and it's a completely different experience to be like, I'm actually, these are my kids, and this is what I want for them. And I think it's important for people to, one, like we were talking about with the ideas, have the confidence to know, like, what is it that you want? What kind of future do you want for them? What experiences do you want them to have? Instead of just blindly putting them through things.
But even to add to that, like my little guy likes watching the Lego movie. And he asked, I was working with my iPad, he's like, hey, Dad, can I watch the Lego movie? And I was like, no, we'll just make one instead.
Yeah.
So like, go get the Legos that you want to bring to life. And he thought I was out of my mind. So we went to grab the Legos and we dropped them on the coffee table. And like, we made a 30-second stop motion Lego film. Like, no big deal to me, but he's already started developing that perception of like, I can tell my story, or I can be creative in the way that I want to. And he's 4. I'm not over exaggerating or trying to paint an inaccurate picture. I don't think he totally grasped what happened. But we also took the video and then we airplayed it to watch it on the TV. And he's like, I made a movie that's on TV. Wow. And it's the same thing as a Lego movie to him. Like, he's making a Lego movie, and that's his perception, which is really important.
And I think that just brought us full circle in such a beautiful way to, are we consuming or creating?
Right.
What values are we teaching kids about what's possible, what they can do? So now when he goes to class and he's told like, oh, you're going to have this and you're going to have this, he's probably going to start thinking, well, why can't I just make my own?
Right. Totally. And then even we were talking earlier about the idea of like, you don't steal ideas anymore. You take the knowledge of others and you reuse it and you credit them and you make something new. And that's like a shift in thinking of like, I'm not stealing your idea. I'm not plagiarizing your idea. I'm building off of your idea. And so I want them to know, like, but you can also consume, but what are you going to do with it once you consume it? Absolutely, and that's also having the belief of like, there's room for my ideas also. Absolutely. And they're valuable.
Craig Bedore just joined.
Yay. Hey, Craig.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Hope to do more of these.
Oh, but we have to prep something as well. There will be a poll coming up on Sabba's profile of who's wearing the hotter shoes right now. Like, please vote for me. This is critical.
No, I'm already going to show you. My shoes are better.
My shoes are way better.
We'll let people determine what they are. Just kidding. Okay, well, anyways, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Bye, and have a great day. Okay, so we end live video.